How's it going, Brian? Chris, y'all tonight?
Hey man, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, great. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to have you
Excellent.
out tonight.
Thank you, man. I'm happy to be here. Excited.
For sure, for sure. How you doing this evening, Ian?
Good
See,
evening.
hey.
Tracy being here. We're doing great. Thanks. Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, Tracy?
Hey, what's up, John?
Also here tonight too.
Yeah.
Good to hear y'all voice.
Good. Thank you.
What's up, Faye?
Hey, Johnny, Ryan, Christina, Ian, and Tracy.
How you doing, Faye?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Hello, Faye.
Hi. Have you guys did sign the course assignments yet? Not yet? Okay, I'm gonna be sending the link in the description in the
That would
chat.
be great. Yeah, that would be great.
All right, we're gonna give people one more minute and we're gonna get it rolling. All right, got the YouTube thing going here, and we'll get going. Make sure I don't have anybody out there in the waiting room. We got one person there. Cool. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. I'm super excited to have you guys here tonight to talk multifamily. One of my topics that I love to talk, and just real estate in general, but really when you start talking about multifamily real estate investing, that it is a powerful strategy when it comes to real estate investing. Hope everybody's having a good night. I'm super excited. Hold on. Sorry about that. That live stream popped up on me. But yeah, let's go. Let's get the slides up. And I want to definitely leave a little time for Q&A on the back end, and we'll be good to go. And yeah, so we're going to talk about, of course, multifamily mastery masterclass tonight. And yeah, we're going to kind of go straight into it. I'm going to introduce myself. For those that stay to the end, I definitely wanted to make sure you guys got a copy of the PDF of my book, Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies, what they forgot to teach you in school. And then also open up for a free strategy session, kind of talk through your goals, what you're thinking, and just seeing, hey, if I'm a good fit to kind of help you get there and help you go through that transformation. So without any further ado, let's get going. Admit these people here as they're coming in. So who's Johnny Lynham? So for those who I have not had the honor and pleasure to meet you all, just take a few minutes just to kind of level set and introduce myself to you all. Johnny Lynham, coming by way of Alabama, Roll Tide, grew up humble beginnings there in the great state of Alabama, and then from there went to the University of Alabama. Via ROTC scholarship, commissioned as an officer in the United States Air Force back in 2005, and been serving ever since. So coming up on 18 years of service there. In that picture there, you see my beautiful wife, Melissa, our 3 kids, Johnny, Mackenzie, and Jace. And when we start talking about why invest in real estate, the sacrifices that you have to make, and now adding something extra to your time, if you want to start a business or just being an astute investor, that it takes time for everything else that you already have in your life. The commitments for your kids, the summer camps, the school, the after school functions, sports, all of that, the time with your significant other, and then just the time if you're still working your W-2 job that you have to commit to. So all those things, the rationale for me and behind why I'm so passionate about real estate and why I've been so gung-ho about it for the time frame, because I found out that eventually, you're either going to be someone's asset the rest of your life, or you're going to figure out how to own and buy assets. And I focused on the latter. So right now we have a total of right around 110 doors. We just got another, it's constantly moving. We picked up another contract today in the Panama City market, kind of using these same strategies that we're going to talk a little bit about today, but that I teach other real estate investors right now how to implement in their market in order to be successful. So I've been investing in real estate for a while. I purchased my first house in 2006. My wife and I started our investing company in 2015. I'll talk a little bit more about that in order to get to where we are today. I've done a lot of different jobs for the military, deployed multiple times, led diverse teams. I think definitely looking at just the holistic view of my career, managing a $1.3 billion software development contract was definitely one of the best times of my career, that 3-year period, with just kind of taking the money, taking the mission and executing and doing a whole lot of traveling here and there and delivering capability. And that's what I'm all about, is delivering capability. And when it comes to real estate investing, delivering results. And I know that's what everybody here is all about, is delivering results for their legacy, for their family members. And that's why you all took the time to be here tonight. So but yeah, so founder REI Genius, the community, my mentorship community, you guys are familiar with that. Operation Invest, kind of is the operations behind everything that I do in my fix and flip business that runs in Panama City, Florida, and across the state of Alabama. Then we talked a little bit about the book as well too. We'll pause here. Let's add in a few people here, bring in. So this here is a picture of my first property that I bought, 11 Pine Shadow Court. And then on the other side is a picture of me in my uniform. But when I started out, the information that I had, that came fresh out of college, and for those that read my book, they know the story that it was a super humbling feeling that my credit was jacked up. I had a 5-year, engineering degree, had did all the courses for my military credits and everything. And I knew very little about money. My parents told me, get a government job, get a good job, save some money, and you'll be good. And that was what they told me, everything that they knew that they could tell me. But little did I know, like, hey, I need to pay my bills on time. I need to manage my credit card properly. And so those things kind of set me up for failure. And it was a super humbling feeling when I had to have a family member sign on my lease to get into my first apartment for my first job, fresh out of college. So I kind of took that gut punch and was like, hey, I got to change. And moving forward over the next 12 months, I got my credit improved and everything. And then I got presented with an opportunity. One of my my lieutenant buddies, we came in at the same time. Shout out to my guy, Nick Battle. He said, hey, J2, he's like, man, I found this property. He's like, it's a duplex. I'm going to buy a side and you buy a side. And we're going to do it. So luckily, I had got my credit to the point where I had around a 650 credit score. And I could qualify to use my veteran loan benefit. And the rest is history. So we bought that property. I ended up saving about $300 a month compared to what I was paying for rent for that apartment that I had moved in a year earlier. And that's just broke my whole fascination with real estate, because I actually got money back at closing. The seller was giving closing costs, and I was 100% financed, so I didn't have to come out of pocket for anything to buy this asset. And then we're talking with the agent. She was like, "Yep, when you move, because you're moving, you're in the military, we'll be able to rent it out, and it's gonna more than cover your mortgage." And I was like, "Okay, I like this." But at the same time, I was all in on the military, all in on the Air Force, and doing my job. But yet and still, I knew, hey, real estate is pretty cool. I became an instant landlord as soon as I left. And I just sold that property back in January of this year. And since I left January 2010, I never stepped foot back in that house again. And it's been pretty much rented the entire time. But this was the most financial education that I had, was get a good job and save your money. Anybody heard that? Somebody drop a one in the chat if you heard that before. Get a good job and save your money. They didn't necessarily say how much to save, 10%. Some people say 15%. But just save your money. You got to save something. And so it was like, okay, cool, save money. But how many people know that you can't save your money? You can't save your way to financial freedom. You can't save your way to build wealth. The only way to get there, I won't say the only way, you may hit the lottery, but one of the best ways to get there is becoming an investor. But my family wasn't in a position to tell me about investing. They didn't have any investments. And so if you don't get it there, I don't know, maybe did anybody in here get it in school? Did they teach you in high school, or in college, how to invest in real estate or how to invest, period? Even just maybe they may have talked a little bit about stocks and bonds and just the capital markets and things like that. But engineer, it was just strictly math and science. You didn't step foot. You stepped into maybe a microeconomics and a macroeconomics class, and that was it. That's all you was going to see in the business school. But it didn't really set me up for success when you get out here in the real world, because you need to know about interest rates. You need to know about credit. You got to have some financial literacy, and in order to be able to navigate and move out here as an adult. Get a good job and save your money. So we heard that one. Then the other one you heard, work until you're 62 years old, retire, then start living. And this is a crazy one. This is a crazy one because you think about it. You work all these years, and then they want you to start living. Then they tell you like, you saved all this money, but you only can access 4% of your IRA a year to live off of. And now you got to cut your costs, you got to cut your means, you got to cut your expenses, and you got to live like a hermit crab just so you can have enough money to pray that, you don't make it to 75 and run out of money. And then what you're going to do, you're going to go back to work? Or, you're going to go work at Walmart? That's a scary place. That's a scary feeling. And so this was a lot of us that this is the information that we get to do invest. And this is all we get. The only way that we know that we can set ourselves up for retirement. But I'm pretty sure all of you all know that there's a better way, because you wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't realize that there's a better way. You're trying to understand, hey, what is the most expeditious path to get me there? How can I accelerate that journey? Whereas that I can retire at maybe 52 or 42. My goal is 42, to be able to retire and not have to work for anybody but myself, and work on my own schedule, have time freedom, travel with my kids, do whatever I want to do. And be able to follow those passions that I have with helping other people learn how to invest, to whereas that they don't have to go through the same problems that I had to go through. Afghanistan 2011. So this was one of the best times of my career. And at the same time, it was one of the most taxing times. Worked 6 months straight, 12-hour days at a minimum, leading a team. And this is the foundation of everything that I talk about when I talk about find, fix, finish and doing real estate, that the work ethic, the team building, all of that the experience of the last 18 years goes into everything that we do in REI Genius. And so I want to level set from that perspective that we're not talking about life or death. When we're talking about real estate, we're talking about maybe the property manager may get a call to say that the toilet's leaking. Okay, big deal. All right, we got cash reserves for that. Or we found this in due diligence. Okay, fine. We're gonna go and negotiate. We're gonna renegotiate the deal. Or something else happened. But guess what? Nobody's shooting at us. Nobody's coming putting bombs in front of us on the road. So at the end of the day, I want everybody to know the perspective that it's gonna be okay. We're gonna live to fight another day, and we're gonna get the deal done come hell or high water. And so that's kind of the credos that I work off of. And I encourage people to approach life, because it could be way worse. And it's people that have way worse circumstances than all of us here today. And so going into it, you know, that first deal is always the scariest deal, but faith and doubt are both beliefs. One believes in a favorable result and the other one does not. And I think when we start talking about the transformation to go into multifamily, the transformation to become a real estate investor in single family or whatever it is, even the transformation that you have to go through to buy your own personal residence, because until you buy your first residence, you've never done it before, that there's going to be some faith that's going to have to be involved. You're going to have to step out on faith in order to do anything, because I'm a true believer that you're going to have to stretch yourself in order to get to that next level. And how many people here want to get to the next level? If you want to get to the next level, drop a 1 in the chat. Okay, Brian raised his hand. He didn't even hesitate. That's what I'm talking about. He said he's ready for the next level, because that's it. He didn't even have to think about it. But that's the thing that we have to understand, whatever it is that we want to do. And I was talking to somebody today, they were talking about fear. I think it was, I forgot what they had posted on my post. Matter of fact, he said he was looking at a multifamily deal, but he was scared. He was fearful. And I'm like, man, fear is that barometer. Fear is the thermostat that tells you that you're doing something that you should be doing. Because guess what? If you're getting outside of your comfort zone, you're going to be fearful. And you need to be getting outside of your comfort zone. That's what's telling you that, hey, I must be in the right direction. Now we're going to have that fear. We're going to drive that energy to get past it. And now we're going to be able to make sure that we align ourselves with the right people, because I'm a true believer. It's not how, it's who. It is how. Now, if you don't walk away with anything tonight, remember, it is not how to get something done. It's who can help me get something done. And once you learn in life that it's who, not how, the better off that you're going to be, because you're going to be able to make magic happen in whatever area of your life that you need to be, when you're able to figure out and see who can make me successful in this area of my life and what I'm trying to achieve. So I talked about the transformation. So I had to make that transformation from, hey, staying into a W-2 job to work till you're 62 in order to retire. But for me to be able to go from the little country boy that went to the University of Alabama, got good grades, got a degree, but had no clue about money and had jacked up credit going into his first job, to be the individual that could lead contractors and lead a company that can fix and flip these houses, buy these rental properties, to be able to analyze the deals. I had to do a transformation. I had to change who I was. Because like I told you, I was all in on the Air Force. I was all in, was a great officer and still a great officer. But I had to take a step back and say, okay, is this going to get me to my ultimate goal of where I want to be in my life 20 years from now? Which is having time freedom, being able to go on vacations, be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with who did I want to do it with, for as long as I want to. That is freedom. And that's the thing. And we're going to find out tonight, it doesn't take a whole lot of real estate to be able to get that amount of freedom in your life. And so that's the thing that I want you to realize, that we all, in order to get to where we want to be right now, that if it's going to take a transformation. In order for you to do this and to get to this level of deals, guess what? It starts with one house. It starts with one apartment. It starts with one deal. And that's the thing that I want everyone to realize. When you look at successful people and people that have been able to operate at a high level and achieve the highest heights, that it all starts with one action. And it's no different than anybody else. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And I have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. I got a family. I run 2 companies and I work full time for the Air Force. But I live on purpose. And I think once you figure out what the goals are for your life and you start living your life on purpose, that nothing would be able to stop you but you. That's it. Because once you put your mind to it, it's going to happen. Because guess what? Think about how many times that you were fearful about, like, oh, what if this happened? What if this happened? And then you focused on the negative result. And how many times does a negative result actually happen in your life? And so that's one of the things I'm a big believer with going through and understanding, one, journaling, but then also, 2, identify what do I want to happen? What positive action, reaction do I want to happen in my life? And then focusing on what task I need to take in order to have that transformation where I can be successful. And so that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about that transformation to go there. My wife and I, we started our company in 2015. That time frame kind of was still working that job where I was talking about managing 1.3 billion contract, and going through that process, I realized it's like, okay, I'm doing this, but I got so much left into me. And then I'm seeing HGTV, we're seeing like, man, I can do that. I manage contractors at work. And I was like, what's the difference with managing contractors that's building a house? And so I made that leap. How many of y'all right now are pretty good at something? At least one thing. I know we probably got some people in that's pretty good at something. Drop in chat what you're good at right now. I want to see what people are saying. You can be honest with us. Marketing, okay. That translates to real estate. Bugging my boss at work, okay. She's task oriented, okay. Ian and Tracy bugging my boss. Oh, I got you. Project management, healthcare, building rapport. Ooh, I like that one. Building rapport, saving and money management. Okay. Operations. That's screaming out to me. Raising capital with building rapport. Deal acquisition with building rapport. Rapport is everything because all real estate is relationships, connecting people. Okay. Marketing. So that's it. The one thing that I always tell people is like success is measured backwards. Everybody on this call tonight, everybody watching this video right now, you already have everything that you need in your life to be successful because you're already successful right now. And I tell people too many times we look at where we want to be in the future and we judge our success based on where we want to go with this lofty goal that we have for ourselves, maybe a year, 5 years, 10 years in the future. But we rarely stop and smell the roses and look at what we've overcome thus far in our life. And now, when I say that we measure backwards, you measure yourself. Where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year ago? What were you going through 5 years ago? Have you grown from that? Have you become stronger from that? Are you smarter from that? That's successful. That's what success. Success is looking in that mirror and identifying where you have come from already and saying, man, you're all right. You're a pretty good dude. You made it through that. That was pretty slick, man. You know, and some people that would have caved under that. And so I want you all to know right now to give yourself on the pat on the back. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Because we've been putting in that work and we still putting in that work and we about to help a lot of other people put in that work because everyone on this call right now watching this video is success. I see you, Henry, but he had double pat. Henry got those 3 flips going down in Augusta, so I already know he got to put that work in. Let's go. Let's freaking go. But that's what it is. That's what it is. So we started flipping houses 2015, one house at a time, one deal at a time, sell it, find the next deal, find the next opportunity. Had some learning pains along the way, fired contractors from 10 hours away, because after I did my first deal in Virginia, I was like, it's too expensive. I know I can buy $50,000 houses, fix them up and make the same amount of money or more money in Birmingham. So we started virtually flipping in Birmingham where my wife was from and just leaning on our realtor, built our team. Real estate is a team sport, as I tell people. And so with that, you had setbacks. We had to fire contractor virtually, went through. I've had to drive down, take leave, hire new guys to come on and go through. But like I told you, come hell or high water, we're getting the deal done. We're getting the job done because it could always be worse. And that's what we do because we know if we're going through that, they're going to have opportunities. There's going to be setbacks, and a setback is nothing more than a setup for future success. I'm 100% believer in that. And then multifamily. We're here talking about multifamily night tonight, right? We're here to talk about multifamily. Then I found out about multifamily. Oh my gosh, what a blessing. I got to share that ET clip. So I'm gonna set the stage for you guys. We have been in Panama City. You know, we had got hit by Hurricane Michael overnight, had thousands of dilapidated houses, and had just got off crutches. And I found that they were having a multifamily conference in Orlando. I was in Panama City, about 5 hours away, and I said, man, I hadn't done any professional development. I got to get in the room. And just like y'all tonight, they were like, man, we talking multifamily. I got to get in the room tonight. And I got in the room, y'all. And when I say I got in the room and I was blessed by just the presence of other individuals that were like me, that were in real estate, but had no clue how close they were to being able to invest in apartments. I had this lofty idea of, millionaires, you got to put millions of dollars down to buy these apartment buildings, all these limited beliefs. Me getting in my own way, telling myself that I couldn't do something when everything in reality in life was total opposite of that. That out here that I was telling myself, I need to have perfect credit. Nope, no, you don't. I need to have a lot of money. Nope, that's a lie too. I got to be able to be great at math. Nope, they got software calculators and they got other people on your team that can bring all these things that you don't have. They can bring it to the deal. They can bring it to the table. And so I found out about apartments. I was there, met some people, and I was going through. Eric Thomas was one of the guest speakers there. Y'all know E.T. E.T. brings the hip hop preacher. E.T. brings the energy. He was rocking the crowd. And it wasn't a whole lot of people that knew ET that was in the crowd. So I'm in there, I'm like, man, I found ET when I was been deployed like a year and a half earlier. So like you going in there, you in the gym, I'm listening to ET, I'm on YouTube at work sitting there listening to ET. So when I was like, ET is here, I was like, man, let's go. You talk about getting motivated. So he was talking to the crowd wasn't getting hyped, people weren't really getting into it. So he was like, who in here wants a multifamily? So I was like, I was crazy enough to raise my, I was like, man, me. I was like, I was in church. They were like, hey, who in here wants a blessing? I'm like, me, I'm raising my hand, let's go. And he called me out, he was like, cool. He was like, man, he was like, how many kids do you got? I'm like, I got 3. He said, you married? I'm like, yeah, I got a wife. He said, all right, so you need one for yourself, you need one for your wife, and you need one for each one of your kids. He was like, what's your wife's name? Melissa. He's like, Melissa, get one. He's like, what's your kid's name? I was like, Johnny. I was like, Mackenzie and Jace. And he was like, okay, but you need to get one for each one of them. He said, how much time you need to get it? I said, man, give me 1 year for each one. I said, 5 years. He said, all right, you got 5 years to get 5 apartments for your family, for your name. I'm like, cool. I'm like, let's go. And it's crazy. 45 days later, y'all, I put my first letter of intent on our first property. $1 million offer. Never made $1 million offer in my life. It was crazy. I was in the back seat of the truck when I made the phone call to the broker. And my wife, she like, you know, you just made $1 million offer on this property. I was like, yeah. I was like, they got it listed for 1.35. I did my analysis, you know, like I got my calculator from the event. And like, hey, I'm like, if the rent's this much and this, I'm like, I can't screw that up at $1 million. It's more than enough in there where we can't mess that up. And lo and behold, you know, it took us about 3 months later. We got it under contract. We walked it in January. That was December, about 45 days after the conference. Walked it in January. Then finally, beginning of March, we got it under contract. Hallelujah. For $1,050,000. Got it under contract. Beginning of March, March 8th, 2020. And y'all know what happened. The end of March 2020, the whole country shut down. You talk about somebody sweating bullets. When COVID kicked off, we had this property, my first multifamily under contract. One of, you know, the partner had talked about, you know, hey, this multifamily vision, I had cast, this is what we doing. Man, they couldn't even show up at work in California. You know, the stock market had tanked. You know, people were like, man, no, this ain't a good time for me. I'm like, okay, we gonna figure it out, or we gonna figure it out. So we gonna figure it out. And what did I do? We figured it out. And it was crazy because I was able to partner with a couple guys in my mastermind group. And he raised $75,000 of the $210,000 we had to put down. I brought the other 110, 115 down for the down payment and closing costs. And then I had a buddy that chipped in and put in 20K that went to college with me. And so we ended up on my first deal, and we're gonna dive into it, that it was this apartment right here. And some of you may have seen the video I put up a couple of days ago, but I was down in Panama City a few weeks ago walking the projects and everything. And I was, you know, always trying to shoot content, was walking outside of them. And yeah, and it was a great deal. It was 18 units. You had the 16 units right here, 4 quads, and then you had the duplex across the street. And we were able to close on the deal for $1,050,000, and life was great. And, you know, from going from that transformation from the single family guy, well, you guys already told you how I came from, you know, W-2 mine, the Air Force. Then from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to create a company. I'm going to start flipping houses. But now I had to go through another transformation. How many of y'all know that you're going to have to change a couple of times in your life? You're going to have to recreate yourself. Because in order for you to be the person to buy a multifamily, you're going to have to change who you are today. How many people here ready to change? I don't know. You know, that change, people get uncomfortable when you start talking about change and like, oh, no, you know, you're going to have to go work in another department. No, man, I'm good. You know, I've been here 5 years. I know my way in and stuff. But the coffee pot, it get the right temperature over here, man. I don't know if I need to be going down the hall and all that. But y'all got to know, you got to change. You got to change. And that's the thing that you got to realize, that everything that you know, everything that you have inside of you has gotten you to this point. In order to go to another level, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change who you are. You're going to have to change your habits. You're going to have to change your goals. You're going to have to change the people you hang around. You're going to have to change the stuff that you read, the stuff that you're talking about, the stuff that you're doing in order to get to that next level. And I don't know. Anybody ready to get to that next level? Y'all dropping in the chat. I'm going to give me a sip right here. I want to see if anybody ready. Type next level if you're ready to get there.
Yeah, now what you want, what kind of money you want?
Okay, 100. That's it, 100. Next level, because we got to get to the next level. And that's why I want y'all to realize that it just takes some goal setting, and it takes the right information, and then it just takes repetition over and over again to get there. And if you are committed to it, you will not miss the mark. You will not fail. And so we're going to keep going. We're going to get into it and go to details. So it was listed for 1.35 for the 18 unit. It was built in the mid 80s. Average unit size is 750, and we ended up buying it for $1,050,000. So I talked about raising the money on the deal, pre-closing, but we're gonna get back to the close. I'm gonna walk you guys all the way through it. So we got this thing under contract in March. We know COVID is going through everything, so I had to go through and analyze. So this is a screenshot kind of the deal analyzer. For those, if you can see the screen, I don't know if you're on your mobile device, you may not be able to, but going through, but we went in and estimated, hey, what is the rent's going to be? What are we projecting that we could get for the rent? We had 4 units that were down that we knew we had to renovate. And then they already had renovated 10 of the units. And so we already knew they were getting $850 a door for the unit. So that was easy. I'm like, okay, that's the market rent. We understand the market rent. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say we can achieve $875 over the next year. Right now, we're getting $950 for the 16 units on the quads, and then for the duplex, those units are bigger. We're getting $1,000 a door for those, which is well above where we originally projected our rents at. But when you go through, when you look at it, that this stuff isn't rocket science. You just get the information, you plug in the calculator. You know, you can learn the numbers behind it, but a lot of this is kind of straightforward. You look at the vacancy. What's the market vacancy for the area? That's a number that they give you. You know, you can go in and figure the rent out based off the number of units and the market rent. We look at the utilities, if we're paying for utilities, and we look at for any reimbursements that we get from the tenants, because they may be reimbursing us for the water. If we're paying for all the water, if we're paying for trash, that we can have them start paying part of the trash bill, and for pest control. And so you look at your expenses. You got taxes, you got insurance, you got repairs and maintenance, you got your supplies, you got your management expense for your property management company, you got your marketing budget, pest control, and then you got miscellaneous stuff. And then after that, you look at how much money you're gonna be left with at the end of the year after paying your bills. And it's like, okay, how much money do we have left to pay our mortgage? And when you go in and look at it, I put in the numbers. And you can see that the offer price of $1 million, and going in that we were expecting, you know, with a net operating income of 106K, with the expenditures and everything, that we were expecting a 19% cash on cash return, which those that know multifamily, you get 19% cash on cash return in a year. That's pretty good. And we were buying it around a 10% cap rate. And so when I saw all this stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is a deal. This is a deal all day. I'm like, I ain't never done a multifamily deal, but I know what a deal looks like, and this is a deal. And so I'm like, let's go. And so here's the front page of the contract. You can see we put that LOI in December 8th, 2019. That was a great day in my life. $1 million right there under number 1 on the purchase price. And typed it up, got this copy from a buddy of mine I had met at that conference. I like, hey man, I need an LOI. I got something I'm looking at. And that's the whole power of having a network. And we were able to put that in. So we got it under contract. One of the things that we found out, if you look at the bottom right picture, when I pulled up, when we did the survey in January, just walking it, it was a puddle of water in the middle of the street. So I'm like, okay, that looks like distress. I'm like, okay, what's going on with that? So lo and behold, that there was a water leak and it had bubbled up in the middle of the street. So being my first deal, we were negotiating back and forth. They were like, well, we can close on it and then we'll just give you the money at close, and then you get it fixed after you close, and you do it like that, and we'll just take it out the process. I'm like, nah, COVID happening, all this. I'm like, y'all got to fix this before we close. And so we ended up not closing until June, just because we had to wait. We had to get on their calendar. It took a month to plan the work out, and then they got the work started and everything. So it kind of drug closing out, which was great, because my initial plan to bring in an investor to partner with me on the deal didn't plan out with COVID and everything. And so I was looking elsewhere, and when my buddy stepped in, and so it gave me time to put a little bit more due diligence in and bringing in a partner on the deal, and it worked out well. And so they did $30,000 worth of water main work. They reran all the water lines to the units, and life was good. because it's always good to have cash reserves, because things like that, what if the next week after you close was when the water started popping up in the street? And then it's like you closed, it's your problem then. And you know, so that's the thing, that we always do your due diligence, you always do your inspections, just because when you're buying a property, you don't know what's lurking there. And so that's why we lean on the experts, the professionals, to kind of do that due diligence, do the inspections, and give us that information on what's going on with the property, so we can have a conversation with the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, hey, I need you to fix this, this, and this before we close. So here we go with the home inspection. Went through, they walked all the units, looked at all the big stuff, and lo and behold, there wasn't a whole lot wrong. There was some deferred maintenance, which is to be expected when you have mom and pop owners that are, especially when they're self-managing. And then there's that invoice there for the water, that $31,400 with getting that work done so we can close. And that's what it's all about. So it's really simple. So up until this point, I submitted the letter of intent. We got it under contract. We once we got under contract, we had the inspector go out. They gave us the inspection report, told us what was wrong. We found that the water needed to be repaired, those water to bypass that water leak. And all they did was go up toward the first unit at the top of the hill there and cut the water off and ran the water from there, and then just capped off where that leak was at. And so they got that fixed. And so we wanted to definitely have that fixed before we go into closing. Then you get your appraisal. So we came in, and it was crazy that we were buying this for $1,050,000, and the appraisal as is came in at $1.2 million. So hold on. So you mean to tell me you're gonna buy something for $1,050,000 that's already worth $1.2 million when you're closing? And I'm like, once again, I'm like, it's a deal. It's a deal. It's a really good deal. You know, you got $150,000 in equity from day one. So we ended up closing. We put the $210,000 down. Debt service was $840. Our monthly payment was $4,400. And the after repair value appraisal said, hey, once you do the work and everything, we think it'll be worth $1.34 million. I'm like, okay, cool. We got to renovate those 4 units. And the cool thing with it, with the 4 units, we took over an insurance claim. How many people know that you can take over somebody's insurance claim when you buy their house from them? Did anybody know that already? But you can. And I learned that at an investor meetup Tuesday morning at Big Mama's on the Bayou with the old heads, with the old real estate investors. You know, I would stop in every so often, every Tuesday on my way to work, go have breakfast with the old real estate investors, talking about the good old days and talking about what's going on. And one of the guys was an attorney, and he was saying, yeah, he's like, hey, I'm starting to buy these houses. I'm taking over the insurance claim, and I'm getting a little bit more money out the insurance company. So I said, man, I'm going to ask the question. I'm like, hey, do you mind if we take over the insurance claim? And they were like, I don't care. Let's do it. And so we were able to do that. And we got an extra $50,000 to do the renovation on the 4 units. And it cost us about $70,000 all in all. So we got 50 from the insurance company. It took us a year to get it, but it's 50,000. I don't care if it took, it takes some people a full year to work to make 50,000. And so that was one of the things. So I talked a little bit about the debt on the front end with raising, but we raised $95K. It was 5 investors. I gave them a 7% cash on cash return. And it was a 2-year note. And so with that 2-year note, there was we had a possibility for a 1-year extension in case something happens, the business plan doesn't go right, that we can extend the additional year. And we agreed to share $20,000 of equity with them.
It's military
because I told him, I was like, hey, I'm keeping this long term. So I'm looking for people that's looking for short-term debt. So in order for that, I can refinance them out, and then we can keep on owning this without having to sell it in the future in order to pay everybody off. And so that's what we done. And so we went to my attorney, got my attorney to do it out of Colorado Springs. Shout out to 4 Pillars. Byron was awesome walking me through my first deal, because I was like, hey, I don't want to syndicate it and have them be the large part of the deal. I want to raise money as just a second term note that's behind the bank. And I just keep the equity and own it long term. And he's like, cool, yeah, you can do that. He's like, hey, let me put your private placement memorandum, your operating agreement, the subscription agreement together. Anybody know how much that costs to get an attorney to put an offering together for you for an apartment building? Anybody want to guess what that runs you? $15K, $20K, $2,500. Yeah, so it gets up to the larger the deal, the more paperwork that has to be filed with the SEC for the depending on the exemption that you're gonna have. But for this one, yeah, for my deal for the 18 units, it cost me $5,000, and that was the veteran VIP brother to brother hookup. He's like, man, you seem like a cool dude. He's like, you only gonna have a handful of investors. He's like, I think we can do it for $5K. I hadn't talked to him what it is now, but it's probably gonna be a little bit more than that now, because everything with inflation, everything's going up. But he was able to put the offering together and everything for the investment, because that's one of the things that you want to make sure that you have your paperwork tight. You want to have your paperwork done professional. You want to have everything laid out in your operating agreement on how the company is going to run, who's the owner, who owns what, who owns a certain percentage of the deal, and have everything laid out up front. Hey, if you guys fall out, hey, what happens? Who makes the final decision? All those type of things. If somebody wants to sell their stake in the deal, what happened? You want to have all that documented in the operating agreement up front. So now you can go through and you have everything laid out. So there's no guesswork when certain situations come up. And so that's the thing, the importance of having an attorney on the team to work that piece. So we ended up, as I told you, I had one partner that ended up raising 75K, 40 of that was his. And then I had a college buddy that came in that put in 20K. And so my college buddy ended up with 5%. Then my other partner, he ended up with 18. I ended up with 77% ownership of the apartment complex, which is pretty good for your first deal. You know, coming in for a good old country boy, as I say, that one ain't too shabby. So operations. So the first 6 months of the deal, guess who was the operator? Who was the property management company? This guy. Because I was like, you know what? I got contractors. We're doing the fix and flip. They can help manage the renovation. They're gonna do the work on the 4 units that's down. I'm like, how hard could it be to manage 18 units while you're working? You know, while you're being a father. There were my 2 kids there at that point. I don't know where the wife and the little guy was at, but they always ride with me. Because can y'all say family business? This family business. You know, a lot of times when you see me with them, they're going to be right there because all this is going to be theirs. And I got to have somebody that understands real estate, that likes real estate, to take over, to keep this thing going, to keep this legacy going. So I self-managed. I talked about the claim. We ended up getting 41K for the remodel. Then we had 10K of lost rent that came from the insurance company. Through COVID, we had a 92% collection rate, which was crazy. It was awesome. You know, when we had a couple units come vacant, I aligned with Section 8, government guaranteed money to kind of augment. I'm like, hey, if everybody stops paying rent and all that jazz, then at least the government's going to pay. I know they're going to pay their bills to pay for these folks for Section 8. And so that at least cover our mortgage payment. But we did really well, thank the Lord. That was definitely a blessing with that. The cost segregation, we talk about taxes. Who in here hates paying taxes? I don't like paying taxes. I'm American. I wear the uniform. I love support, but they can pass them taxes off to somebody else. So one of the things that you got to realize, the IRS tax code is written in a way to incentivize investments. Because guess what? The United States government does not want to be a landlord, and they do not want to be out looking for oil and gas. And so what they do, they write the tax code to incentivize investors to put money into being landlords and to invest in the oil and gas. And so that's why you see those 2 industries are kind of some of the most heavily tax advantaged investments out there, is because they want to influence people to invest capital in those areas. That's why we saw the opportunity zones popped up. It was like, hey, let's give these people incentives to invest their capital gains in these areas, and we're gonna give them a tax break, because that's the only way they're gonna be able to get capital to invest in those areas. And so that's what we did. So we did a cost segregation study. The Tax Act back in 2017 provided bonus depreciation, whereas that now you can accelerate your depreciation. So one of the things with real estate is one of the only assets that appreciates in value over time. But from an IRS standpoint, because they allow you to depreciate a little bit of it every year. It's crazy. They say, hey, your building is getting less and less in value, but it actually is going up and appreciating. And so you're able to pull forward a lot of that depreciation that's in the out years. They allow you to pull a lot of it forward to the first year. So in our case, we were able to pull $170,000 of IRS depreciation tax loss in the first year. So you think about it, it's almost a 1-for-1. We had to put $210,000 down, and then we were able to write off $170K like loss. And so there's some other things, and I'm gonna have my for those that know within our community, I'm really big on the professional development, tapping into my network. So, having my CPAs come in here, talk with you guys about the different strategies that I leverage with, my fix and flip, take the profit, buy apartments, get the bonus depreciation, the tax write-offs, and then bring that in under, being a real estate professional designation from the IRS's standpoint. And now we're able to bring all that active income together and wipe it off with these depreciation losses that we have from the apartments. That's the strategy. That's how you build wealth. And that's what we hear about. That's the thing. That's why you got to have experts. You got to have people around you that know how to build wealth so you can build wealth. And guess what? Because if you want to be a phenomenal person, you got to start hanging around phenomenal people. Because the thing that you got to realize is you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you figure out a way where you can spend time with 5 millionaires, I'm probably going to be looking at the 6 millionaire. And so that's the thing that you got to figure out, where these people that are successful in doing whatever it is that you want to do, you need to get in the rooms where they're at. And you need to figure that out. And so there's multiple ways to do that I figured out and learned over the years. And we remodeled those 4 down units. We talked about that being around 70,000. Refinance. So somebody type in there the dollar sign. Where's the money? We're doing all this to make the money. That's the thing that we realize. And so I flip houses. The average profit on a fix and flip house is about 40K, 50K on average in my market where I operate. So we fixed those 4 units up, y'all. We put the 70 some odd K in there. We replaced a couple water heaters, air conditioners when they went out, turned over units. And we had to go through and get a reevaluation after we finished the work. And so we went in, got that price reappraised. Y'all know it's been crazy with the real estate market. So it's last summer, 2022, the apartment appraised for 1.76 million. Bought it for $1.05 million, put an extra 70K in renovating those units, 50 that came from the insurance company. And now the building is worth, it's increased in value that much. And you can see the snapshot from the hood over there. But at the end of the day, after we paid off that 95K for investors and everything, they cut us a tax-free check for over $300,000 in right at 2 years. And that's the power of real estate. Because if you did for easy math, $30,000, that's the equivalent of flipping 10 houses and making 30K. And I won't even say it's not, and I take that back. That's not even doing it, because if you flip a house and make 30K, you got to pay taxes on that money. This money here, you don't even have to pay taxes on. When you do a refinance and get the money from the bank that's back with that loan, you don't pay taxes on any of this. And so it's definitely well above just 10 houses that's being flipped. But that's the power of real estate, y'all. That's where we look at. When you find a property that you can buy at a discounted value, we know how to come in, add value, renovate units, put in $5,000 a unit, and being able to increase the rent to $300 in each unit. If you do that over 10 units, you do that over 100 units, now you increase the income that the property is making. And if you figure out how to reduce the expenses where you no longer pay the water bill, the pest control and trash, then now each one of the tenants splits that up, where each one pays $35 now for water, trash, sewer. And you increase the income over time. That's how you build wealth with apartments and with multifamily. And that's because all it is, when we talk about buying multifamily, we're just buying a business. And all this math that we're doing is 5th grade math. We're adding, subtracting, we're multiplying, divide. And being able to understand what the market rent is and know how much renovation we need to do to increase the unit rent, that's our business plan that we got to execute. We close it, we start doing those renovations on those units, and over time, once it's done, we go refinance and we cash out. We pay everybody back to put money into the deal. And then now we're getting $4,500 every month passive income until we figure out that we want to sell. And that number goes up when we increase the rent, because rent goes up over time, and insurance goes up over time too. That was one of the things that you always want to look at, is understanding your expenses. But all in all, this is how you build wealth with multifamily. Since then, with the refinance, I made an Alabama multifamily pivot back to my roots. We're buying multifamily across the state of Alabama, the major metro areas. We bought a 40 unit last year, a 24 unit, a 12 unit. We got a 20 unit under contract right now in the Montgomery market. And so this is the thing that we're doing. We're probably about 33% complete on the renovations for these. I think we got a large contingent moving out the end of this month, the end of June, and we're going to start renovating, I think, a total of 12 units simultaneously. And we're looking to go in. Guess what, y'all? We're going to refinance again early spring So December, January, we're gonna start that refinance process for all those units. We're increasing rents on the 2 bedrooms from 600 to 950, and we're increasing the 1 bedrooms that we're at, I think 550 to 850 on the renovation. So a really, really good jump in the market rent. And when we go to that refinance, that's gonna be a great day. And so, but that's what this is all about. For you guys that's here tonight, the process, I'm gonna answer questions, but I do want to give you guys a special offer tonight, something I put together on the multifamily front. But one of the things that I figured out, I've been doing this for a while, 15 plus years since I bought my first place. And we talked a little bit about through the discussion with you all earlier. The big one is you don't have to know everything. Like I never changed the window. I never painted. I never picked up a paintbrush. I never swept a floor. I never slung a sledgehammer in not one of these properties. We've done well over 100 transactions buying and selling real estate. Never once have I done it. Most of the houses the last 2 years I never even seen that I buy virtual. I live in Northern Virginia, outside DC, and in the Panama City market that we've been gone since November 20. But I know I had the processes, I had the systems, I had the people set up in strategic places to be successful. And that's what it's all about, building teams and being able to be successful. And the part of it is you just got to figure out where do you fit in the team and get the other players around you. Because guess what? On a football team, everybody's not throwing the ball. Everybody's not the quarterback. Everybody's not the running back. Somebody's got to block. Somebody's got to run routes and catch the ball. But guess what? It's a team win. It's a team effort in order to score. And guess what? I got the playbook. I got the playbook in order for us to be successful. And the biggest thing that we talk about, in order to build wealth, you got to invest. You got to be able to invest. The number one investment that you can ever make in life, anybody know it? The number one investment right now that you can make to build wealth is investing in yourself. Investing in yourself right here. That knowledge, that information, that information. And but guess what? For me and my job as a consultant, as a coach, I give you my 15 years of experience now, so you don't have to go out there and achieve 15 years to go make 15 years of mistakes and all the bumps and bruises with that. I can give you all of that condensed into a short amount of period where now you can accelerate your journey. And then the next step after that, it's taking action. You just got to do it. The information is here. The information is the same, but guess what? Unfortunately, 90% of people, they won't change. They won't change their habits. They won't change their goals. They won't change what they need to do in order to get there. Because the process to get there has been proven. It's the same process over and over. There's been plenty of successful real estate investors over the years. Those that start, one of my mentees, Reggie, had started. He started with one flip. The next thing you know, those apartments in Montgomery, he said, like, hey, this the same thing works for multifamily. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. It's just marketing. He started marketing, looking for multifamily deals, found a multifamily deal. We closed the deal. And, now doing 3 or 4 flips simultaneously right now, still underwriting multifamily deals. You just got to do the work. That's it. You got to take action because the process is the same and the process is tried and true. Like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. But the thing is, there's an easy way and a hard way. The hard way to do all this stuff is trying to figure it all out by yourself. Like, okay, I'm gonna go in. I don't know how much it costs for the roof. I don't know how much the flooring costs. How much the contractor gonna beat me? Is this a reasonable cost? How do I underwrite? How do I analyze the problem? I know it's just 5th grade math, adding and subtracting and dividing. But if you don't put the parentheses around the wrong numbers when you add before you multiply, you're gonna get the problem wrong. And nobody wants to get the problem wrong with your money. And I sure in the heck don't want to get the problem wrong with somebody else's money. And so that's the thing that we do. We got to get the information, understand how we can analyze and underwrite the deals. And then lastly, you got to have a strategy and goal. Whatever you're doing in life, you got to have a goal. You got it's mind boggling because we'll go through and we'll go to the grocery store and we'll write a list for what we want to pick up and be focused when we go in the grocery store, what we want to purchase, but we won't write the same thing down for our life and what we want in our life. We'll go through and put a list down for everything else. But how many times have we set goals and wrote down a list of what we want from our life for the next year? the next 5 years? What are the goals that we want to do? What are the tasks that we need to accomplish to be successful? And the little thing like that, with being able to write down the goals and then hold ourselves accountable, there's nothing that we can not do if we hold ourselves accountable and set goals for ourselves. Why is this important now? You know, a lot of times, you know, a lot of us, we've heard about real estate, we've seen it, but why now? Why not? Why are we taking action now or showing up now on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to learn about real estate? Are we committed? Are we ready? Only you can answer that. What's the big why? Is it that legacy? Is it to get out of that dead-end job that's causing you stress? That career change that you've been eyeing, you've been putting off? Is it making that legacy for the next generation, for your kids to leave something better than how you were brought in? I don't know. But you got to do that self-assessment. The only person to know is going to be you on why this is important to you now. You know, one of the things that, you know, the people, you know, a lot of people say is like, okay, well, I'm not ready now. I'm like, there's never a good time. Life is always happening, because guess what? We're going to figure out the way, but you got to insert this in everything that you're doing right now in your life and figure out how do you implement this and have the right strategy where it's sustainable. And that's what we're here for. And that's what we're going to coach you through and help you build that strategy. Whereas that you're not going through by yourself, because guess what? It's going to take time for you to figure it out if you try to go and do this alone. No doubt. It took me a long time, but now that you have a proven process and system, that's all you need is a system. Think about it. General Motors, they got a system. They got an assembly line. They put the cars together, and guess what? Everyone comes down the same assembly line. It's the same process. They may change the color of the paint. They may change the seat, may not have leather, may have cloth seats, but all in all, it's the same proven system every time. It's repeatable, and it's a repeatable result. And that's the thing that you got to be able to do, where you can be able to get to the point where you have your systems and your team on point, where you can just step in once or twice a week, ask how things are going, and then next thing you know, a $40,000 check pops out 3-4 months later. A $120,000 check pops out. A $309,453 check pops out 2 years later. And that's what it's all about. But you got to have a system, you got to have a process in order to get there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, because one of the things that I want to give you guys is something that I put together. I've been working on for the last year. You know, we bought these 4 apartments. You know, we got the 5th one under contract that we're buying. It's like, okay, more people need to know this than just me. I'm like, it's pretty much on autopilot. I go to Alabama, I go to Panama City a couple times a year, maybe, but we have teams in place. We have people in place. It's a process in place where I can go work for the Air Force all day, and I can run an operation in Alabama. I can run an operation in Panama City because I got systems in place and I got the right people in place to be successful. And that's why I want you guys to know where you are right now today. If you're committed, if you're ready to go on that multifamily journey, and if you see yourself wanting to go in and start the process and the systems that I have in place, then I would love to bring you on the journey with me. 100%, because and I'm gonna share with you guys tonight the process. So the process now is a 6-month process on the multifamily side. My goal is to bring in 20 people in the cohort. With the 20 people, we're gonna figure out, well, what are you good at? What's your superpower? Because guess what? You already said what you need on the team. You need somebody that can find deals. You need somebody that can put the money together. You need somebody that can operate the deal. And then guess what? You need someone that can raise the capital and put all that stuff, that piece together. So 4 parts to the deal. Guess what? How about you have a group of individuals that's going to bring the deals in together? I got my virtual assistants that do my marketing. Guess what? We're going to have a team of VAs that's going to be able to support one cold calling these owners directly that own these properties, send them a mail. We're going to be sending them text messages. We're going to be bringing in brokers from these areas that people want to invest in. If you want to buy properties in Valdosta, Georgia, or Huntsville, Alabama, it's like, okay, let's get the top 3 brokers in there, bring them in. They're going to come talk to the group. And now within the group, it's not you going to build a relationship with a broker. The group is talking to the broker. And now guess what? You're leaning on the expertise of the group and myself when they come before us. And it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're buying this asset class in your area. We would love to work with you. We got money already set aside. We're back. We're ready. We're waiting for the deal. We're waiting on you. And now we're going through as a group versus individual, and there's power in unity. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. We're taking a military approach and bringing it to real estate investing, where we're establishing task forces to focus on individual markets and bringing a cohesive team that's running together with system and processes in order to execute and buy property. Because one of the people we talk about is like, one, my money. I don't have the money. I don't have the money. When I just talked about that apartment deal in Montgomery, my partner, Reggie, that found that deal, he didn't have to put no money in the deal, and he owns roughly 30% of a 96 unit. When we close on this 20 unit, 96 units in that area. That's life changing, y'all. That valuation, when we finish renovating these units early spring next year, we're looking at a valuation of about $9 million on that property. And that's just from working with a wholesaler who didn't even have a deal under contract, then doing the due diligence to find the owner, send them a certified letter, send our real estate agent down there to meet face to face with them. Me fly down there, we sit down across the table with them. They like us and say, "Yep, we're gonna sell it." And then the property management company, they manage the other guy's stuff too. And when he found out that his buddy was selling, then he said, "Guess what? I want to sell too, and then I'm gonna owner finance it." You can't make this stuff up. You can't go into a deal and position that. But guess what? If you're on the sideline, you're not in the game, it's never going to happen for you. It's never going to happen. And that's the thing. One relationship can change your life. Because guess what? One of those guys, he said, "Man, you know what? We got like 7 other properties across town that we're probably going to sell over the next few years." Guess who they're going to call? Guess who's going out there and going fishing with him? And, building rapport, building relationship. So when they would get ready to sell those multifamily that their families built from the ground up 25, 30 years ago, I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm still buying. Oh, you selling? Oh, yeah. Let's go out here and let's go hunting together, or let's go fishing, or and talk about it." And yeah, you'll be surprised. These deals don't even see the light of day with that. It's a whole nother world. But you got to know, if you want it, it's for you. You got to make that decision that if you want it, and go get it, it's for you. So that's what we're doing. We're building teams. Is we're going to kind of the capstone with all this. We're going to have a 2.5 day immersion in Montgomery, Alabama, where we're going to have a full day of instruction. We're going to look at doing some networking and bus you guys over to Tuscaloosa, Roll Tide. We're going to do some tailgating for one of the Alabama football games that Saturday. Get to know each other in person a little bit better. And then that Sunday, we're going to have a half a day at the property that I just talked about in Montgomery. We're going to walk it. I'm going to have my PM company. They're going to be there, kind of walking through the process, talking with them, and my on-site manager and all of them, to just see the process and to go through the experience. And so that's what it is. For you guys that are considering, would love to talk to you. I'm going to set some time up on my calendar the next few days. We're going to look to get going here. Probably the week after the holiday, 4th of July, just to kind of get everything lined up, get everybody onboarded. But that's what it is. Multifamily Millions program. You go through there. We're going to talk about the marketing, being able to niche down, to go to motivated sellers across the apartment class, all the calculators, contracts that you guys, I already told you guys, I paid $5,000 for the paperwork, just for the contracts and the private placement memorandum, the operating agreements for the company and all that stuff alone. But I could prefer lender. I didn't even talk about it. I told one person, I talked to my guy Henry. He's already going in on this, but the preferred lender. I got lenders already that have limited partners ready to invest in our deals. I'm gonna say that again. We already got limited partners that's looking to get a return on their money, that wants to align with operators that's doing deals, to be able to come in and be a limited partner to put the upfront capital down for the down payment. So that's what we're talking about. That there's power in unity, and guess what? There's a lot of power in proximity. You got to get into proximity. You got to get into proximity. But employee hiring support, for that, I talk about my team, the people I have hired on my team. We're gonna go into all that for people that want to build teams, because some people, they're like, "I don't want to be in the group. I want to buy a property with my parents, or I want to buy a property with my brother-in-law, sister-in-law. We want to get a 20 unit over here in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's it. We want to get 1 or 2 properties like that and do it. And that's totally fine too. We're going to help you build those teams, help you build those relationships in that market, whereas that you can buy that asset where you just come in with just 2 or 3 of you guys. You have the ultimate control on how you want to present it. If you want to align with people in the cohort that have expertise at some areas where you're deficient, it's here for you. But if you don't, you feel like you want to move on your own and build your own team, that's fine too. And we're here to support that however to align it. We get together weekly, 1 hour Zoom calls. And also I open my calendar always 15 minutes where I have an hour each day, 5 to 6. That's open 15 minutes. You can jump on my calendar in between meetings if something comes up and you need me. We also have one-on-one strategy sessions to make sure you get your strategy tight up front. And once you get that nailed down, now we just course correct along the way as we get information and move through. Because guess what? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's what Mike Tyson says. And in the Air Force, we say everybody has a plan, but the enemy has a vote. Life has a vote. So things aren't going to go how we planned it, but we're going to be able to course correct and still get to where we need to be, our destination. And then we're here for you at the end of the day. All this stuff rolled up, everything that you need is right there. I'm going to answer questions, y'all. There's the link for the free book, download a copy of my book. And then for those that can grab the link for the strategy session, you want to talk about it, what you're thinking about it. This is a team, a family approach. So if it's like 2 or 3 of you guys want to come in as a team into the cohort to do this, that's fine. This isn't just like a one-person thing at all. This is family business. This is family business. We align as a family, and that's how we move out. That's how we roll. So, but yeah, so you can get the links there. What questions? Anybody got any questions? We got time, Faith, for questions. I know I've been running my mouth. I can't see. Oh, I'm 4 minutes over. Golly. We still got time for questions. I apologize for going over, y'all. But yeah, I got time to hang out. What's up?
All right, well, we're waiting for the questions, you guys. I have dropped the link so you can go ahead and schedule your, your complimentary coaching session in the description. I'm sorry, in the chat box. So go ahead and check it out. We have limited slots for that one, by the way. So if you might, want to make sure you got yourself booked in that strategy session.
For sure. For those that don't know, Faye is my director of operations. She keeps me straight on the education company side. She's phenomenal. And yeah, we're here to take care of you guys. I appreciate all you for coming out, for taking the time to learn, get out here. Let me know what I can do to help. Would love to have you in the cohort. What we're about to do. I'm truly inspired by this, and we're gonna be real successful. With just the partnerships that I'm bringing in with my academic advisors for all the areas, from the lending, the CPAs, the brokers, just to come in to give you their experience, their insight from what they do on a daily basis, and being able to pour into you. And now being able to because all of you are leaders, whether you know it or not. As a real estate investor, we're all leaders because we're the ones that have to get all this stuff done. We got to be able to work with the property manager, the seller, the buyer, the title company, the contractors, the insurance company, the lenders. We got to talk to everybody and orchestrate and make all this stuff go. And you're a leader, and I want you to think of yourself as that, and know that you have the skill and the skill set that you need right now to be successful. You just gotta do it.
Got a question from a doer. Go ahead, Henry.
He's muted.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Man, you got me so hyped, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, man, you and Faye, man, are my mentors, my senseis, man. I love y'all. But my question, so do you only buy like for multifamily in like Birmingham and Panama City area, or do you venture out?
No, with the cohort, we're gonna be venturing out. Because
Okay.
with all that, when you start talking about the multifamily side, that the team approach, they be like, okay, well, who has the credit? Who has the experience? And so we're gonna definitely be venturing out and looking in these markets and making sure that that we're bringing in good deals. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be aligned. I stand behind you guys. I'm gonna be right there aligning with you with these good deals that we're doing. So that's the vision. So right now, up until this point, everything's with me has been focused on Panama City and Alabama as my primary markets. But we're looking to grow. That's what this is all about, is growing and aligning with the right people that's looking to grow, instead of me trying to do this by myself.
So last question, I know Joel, my other partner over there, got a question. So let's say that we're venturing out into uncharted territory. Like, what would you recommend, like finding, because contractors are, the heart and soul of your operation, finding good contractors. So if you're going off into uncharted territory, what would be your first step in trying to find good contractors somewhere that you don't really have a good stronghold?
No, that's a great question. That's a great question and easy answer. We're gonna talk to other multifamily investors in that area and see who they're using. That's so it's a repeatable process. If they got somebody that's doing quality work for them, and because guess what? Once they finish the renovations at their units, they're done. And a lot of these companies, when you start talking about multifamily, they're professional contractors and they got multiple crews. And so we're gonna reach out, we're gonna network on the investor side, because we're gonna have somebody that's gonna be boots on the ground in every market there. And so once we get the boots on the ground, we're gonna align with the investors there, the multifamily units there, and just get referrals. And we're gonna do due diligence, and we're gonna talk to people that they worked with in the past, get references, and and you go through. And then you just measure performance. Great question, Henry. Joe, what's going on?
Hey, John, and thanks so much for this information tonight. It was so valuable. I mean, every time you give content, John, it's just invaluable. For anybody that's on the fence about John and joining Johnny's mentorship, it's the best decision you could make. I've been a mentee of his for about a year now, and I have learned so much about investing in real estate. And you cannot go wrong if you join Johnny's mentorship. The only question I had was a simple one. I saw that in your first multifamily flip, you renovated about 4 apartments, spent about $70,000. That came to about $17,000 a piece. Is that typical, or is that a little bit excessive?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I appreciate that feedback too, Joel. I pour my heart into this, and it's like people ask me like, well, why you hadn't done multifamily? Yeah, it's like, because I wanted to make sure the process was repeatable. I want to understand what we do, and bring it all together and put it together the right way. But it was untypical. So these units, because of the hurricane damage, they have been stripped down to the studs. All the sheetrock was removed. In 2 of the units on the upstairs, all the flooring was done. One of the downstairs units still had tile. So everything was stripped down, including the HVAC units were taken out. So we had to completely rebuild them up for those floors. So normally you don't have to do that because it's just cosmetic stuff. You're just gonna go in and paint, put in vinyl plank flooring. You may tear out the cabinets. Like the units we're doing right now, we're just repainting the cabinets and we're resurfacing the countertops to save money, because we're investing to make money. So it makes sense in our market. We don't have to put granite countertops in, and then and you just replace your HVAC and your water heaters when you need to, just depending on where they are for the life cycle with that. But yeah, a typical renovation, you're gonna probably spend somewhere between $5,000 to $7,000.
Good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Can I piggyback on what my buddy Henry asked a while ago about the contractors for the multifamily? The same thing. Maybe I'm asking also, and possibly Justin, applies to single family. If you're investing out of town, if you look at if there's a lot of investor activity going on in the area, you can always call up the ones that flip that house and ask them, would you do this, or do you have a team? And you get referred, especially if they did a good job and the pictures are on the internet and you saw it was a good flip. You can ask them, well, who did your work, or do you do it yourself, or do you recommend anybody in the area?
Yep, 100%. It's the same process. You hit the nail on the head, Joel, when it comes down to that. I'm gonna give you guys a good hack for that. Just right, so the areas like certain side of town, they may be gentrifying, where there's a lot of flip activity. Just ride around, and then those houses that you see with the dumpster in front, get out and talk to the contractors working. Get a car, chat with them a little bit. Just find contractors out working, looking. Just kind of when you walk in there, it's like, okay, that tile working, that bathroom look pretty good, and just check out the work that they're doing. When you see contractors and ask them. That's how I found my contractor that I've been with now for 4 years in Panama City. That's a funny story. We were out putting out bandit signs, and we were riding, and there was a guy walking out to the car, and he was bringing out old sheetrock and putting it in the corner. I was like, my wife was like, you need to go back, because we had just got something under contract. She was like, if we had to build a team, she was like, you need to go back and talk to them and get their information. I'm like, no, I ain't about to go bother those guys. She's like, you need to go. She says, I'm like, yeah, she right. Let me get out. I'm an introvert, y'all, whether you know it or not. I ain't like, I don't want to go out bothering these folks. And then went in, talked to the guy, and didn't speak English. I'm like, okay, cool. He didn't speak in English, and then he just pointed to the back. So here I am, walking to somebody's house. I don't even know whose house it was. They were working. Yeah, I'm walking in the house. Then I'm looking like, hello, hello. And then it's three Hispanic guys in the back talking in a circle. Then I walk up, and then I was like, hey, you guys speak English? He's like, they looked at me. They was like, yeah, speak English. I'm like, you guys have a card? Or like, I'm looking for an estimate for a job. And they ended up calling me. When I called them, and he called me back probably like a week and a half later, got the estimate. I'm like, okay, these guys are good. And it's been a wrap ever since. They did that house, and we've been working together for 4 years. Shout out to my guy Lamus, godsend. It was funny, like, you know, probably 6 months later, he was like, yeah, Mr. Johnny, he was like, when you rolled up, he's like, we thought you were Puerto Rican. I was like, what? Yeah, he told me that they thought Puerto Rican, but you know, and that's the thing, that with all this stuff, we're creating jobs, y'all. We're improving communities. It's just so much that we're doing that, especially when you're the landlord, you can provide quality housing and you can help people in so many different levels that it's cool and it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. Brian, what's going on, man?
Hey, so I have a question about the type of properties that we'll be looking at. Are all of the properties that we're looking at ones that will need fixing? So are we forcing value on all of the properties that we look for?
We can. It just depends. It depends. Some people may want to go on like, hey, I just want to buy something that's like a newer asset, a class A or class B asset that's not as old. And you go through, but that's the thing, you just got to realize, like, okay, are you trying to force value to get a return? Because some people may just go in and want to hold long term for the cash flow and not necessarily want to do a value add approach. So it's just different options and seeing where you are with your strategy. Because some people may want to buy super cheap apartments in war zones. I don't recommend that. That's not my recommendation. But hey, you know, if you want to go buy an apartment in a distressed area, you can definitely do that. But just we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of each asset class. Whereas if you buy Class A brand new construction, your cash on cash return is gonna be a lot lower in that situation, because you're gonna have higher rents, you're gonna have lower maintenance costs, but you're gonna pay a pretty penny for it. And so that's the thing. Just because of the large amount of money you got to put down, you just go that cash return from those rents is gonna be lower compared to like a B class, C class, where you can go in, force appreciation by going in and doing $5,000-6,000 per door and increasing the rent $200 or $300, and then now you're forcing that appreciation, like we said, and the value. So it's just different strategies to do there. And I forgot too, one I just hit me that we're talking about the $6,000 investment, that I do have a financing option. If you guys want me to finance it for 6 months and kind of spread it out, that's an option as well too, that we can talk about. Just hit me up on the strategy session with the links, and we can definitely chat about that too. Any other questions? George, I'm talking to you at 5 p.m. Yep, we're on the calendar. Yep, for sure. I saw that. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. I love talking real estate, multifamily, and hey, this is what we're doing. We building. We'd love to have you with the family. Encourage you guys to definitely check out the REI Genius community. It's funny, I got something coming out that we had somebody to come, did our 5-day, my 5-day free boot camp, and just got a duplex under contract in Atlanta, Georgia. Y'all, that yeah, it's crazy. That's what she was like. They were like, yeah, I was like, I'm doing deals and getting my building wealth off your free stuff. I'm like, I know you can. It's like you can do any of this stuff. It's like, I'm just here to accelerate, to hold your hand if you need clarity. But if you go through and implement and study this stuff and do it, you can do it all day. So yeah, that's cool. And they did it with their self-directed IRA, which is super dope. But yeah, I'm gonna be more to come on that. So that's another good news story. I got that yesterday that just kind of like, oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. So y'all know how to reach me. Let me know. We're gonna try to get about 20 folks in here for the cohort, and we're gonna start getting after it here soon in July.
And for you guys that are in the REI Genius, don't forget to fill out the cohort assignment form, because we'll be drafting the list for the different cohorts that we're going to be forming depending on the market that you're investing in, areas that you need help with, and the people that that might be able to help you out on that one too, in your journey to actually building that wealth in that area or the market. So we'll find similarities between you guys so we can connect you with each other that would be a fit for you. Which link is not working,
I
Joseph?
think he was talking about the survey one there.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna DM that to you guys or send it to your email. Yeah, to make sure that you got all of this.
Okay. Oh, and then I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I totally forgot too, for those that's like in the Northern Virginia area, I'm doing a meetup in the Ashburn, Leesburg area tomorrow night, 7 to 9. And then I think July 11th, we're gonna have a meetup in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So for those, I know we got a few people that's out in Colorado.
Oh, okay, I see.
So I'm trying to leverage, these TDYs here and there. I'm like, okay, if we, slide in, we'll be in town for 2 or 3 days. I'm like, why not have a meetup one night? We got a couple of people that I know. I got a couple of investors in that market too, Colorado Springs. So we're gonna do that. Okay, yeah, Ian and Tracy be there tomorrow night. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I encourage you guys to start your own meetups. That's what this is all about. I would love for you guys to host a meetup and invite me, and I can put it on the calendar, show up. I'm trying to make my way to Augusta, Georgia. Henry's got 3 flips going on down there. So I'm gonna try to swing down through there in July. I got a partner. I got to talk to Paul Myers, who came in and spoke to the group a couple of weeks ago, who's a huge wholesaler in that market. That him and I are gonna try to put some stuff together too. And then I'm gonna try to squeeze in around the golf. So I'm gonna bring the golf clubs as well too. So this is what it's all about, y'all. I'm here with it. We're building, and let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I appreciate all you guys. Shu, Kimberly, Clay,
Yeah.
Nikki.
We're gonna hear it from
Tracy.
Henry.
I see you on the iPhone with the hat on. I can't see the name, but I appreciate you, Joel, Henry, everybody. We gotta do we can do a picture, Faye. Can you take a picture, do a screenshot?
Yes, all right, let's go ahead and do it. All right, 1, 2, 3.
That's what's up. Y'all have fun. I'm about to go see what my kids not in the bed.
Thanks, guys. See you around.
All right, y'all.
Later, y'all.
Good
Be blessed.
night.